Thank you for listening to the Mindful Midlife Crisis. Looking for an all-in-one platform to build and grow your online business? Let me introduce you to System.io, the game-changing tool that simplifies your life by handling everything from building sales funnels to automating emails, managing your online courses, and even running your affiliate programs. With System.io, you don't need a dozen different tools or a massive budget. It's designed to be user-friendly, affordable, and comprehensive so you can focus on what really matters, growing your business. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out like me, System.io makes it easy to create a website, sell your products, manage your email list, and set up powerful automations all in one place. I actually have my Mindfulness for Anxiety and my Mindfulness Fundamentals course on System.io, and it's also what I use for my weekly newsletter. So if you're ready to streamline your business operations and skyrocket your productivity, click on the link in the show notes to get started with System.io, the only tool you need to start your online business. Need to tackle a big project but don't have the time, skills, or resources to do it all yourself? Say hello to Fiverr, the only marketplace that connects you with talented freelancers from around the world to get the job done. Whether you're looking for logo design, website development, copywriting, or even podcast editing, Fiverr has experts in every field ready to help. With transparent pricing and reviews, finding the perfect match for your project has never been easier. I've used Fiverr to help me edit this podcast, create and update my websites, compile data, and do my least favorite thing in the world, design and schedule social media posts. Fiverr has been a total game changer for me because I am only one man and running the show is a lot of damn work. But Fiverr's platform is easy to use, and I always find someone who delivers exactly what I need on time and within budget. So if you're ready to save time, lower stress, and bring your creative ideas to life, click on the link in the show notes for 10% off your first job completed by a dedicated professional freelancer. Fiverr, a job well done starts here. Hey there, I wish we could do this show ad-free, but these products and services really do enhance the quality of this podcast, and I'm a big believer in promoting people who do good work. Not only that, but when you support these products and services, you're also supporting the show. If you're looking for other ways to support this podcast, be sure to stay tuned until the end of the show, and don't forget to click on those show notes. Now, on with the show. Coming up on the Mindful Midlife Crisis. Fear is a natural part of the process, and sometimes waiting until everything feels safe or feels perfect can mean missing out on life-changing experiences. Do you put courage before confidence or confidence before courage? And for a long time, I believed confidence had to come first, that I needed to feel sure of myself before taking action. But waiting for confidence often meant not acting at all. What I've come to realize then is that courage is what you need to lead with. Courage is the willingness to step forward despite uncertainty. It's the courage to look like a fool. It's the courage to sound like a fool. It's the courage to make mistakes. It's the courage to take that first leap even when you don't feel ready. Welcome to the Mindful Midlife Crisis, a podcast for people navigating the complexities and possibilities of life's second half. I'm your host, Billy Lahr, an educator, personal trainer, meditation teacher, and overthinker who talks to experts who specialize in social and emotional learning, mindfulness, physical and emotional wellness, cultural awareness, finances, communication, relationships, dating, and parenting, all in an effort to help us better reflect, learn, and grow so we can live a more purpose-filled life. Take a deep breath, embrace the present, and journey with me through the Mindful Midlife Crisis. Welcome to the Mindful Midlife Crisis. I'm your host, Billy Lahr. Thank you for tuning in wherever you are. The purpose of the show is to help you navigate the complexities and possibilities of life's second half. One way I do this is by providing a platform that gives people the space and permission to share their practical expertise and relatable life experiences that inspire you to become more clear, consistent, connected, and compassionate in pursuit of your own future goals. If you want to listen to some of my favorite conversations from the past, visit www.mindfulmidlifecrisis.com/fan faves. That's where we post past episodes that generated the most buzz from our loyal listeners, like my conversation with Dr. Don Graham, that's episode 28, where we talk about why people in their midlife years switch careers, the career switch process, and how frustrating it can be, how job hunting has changed over the years, how we need to rebrand ourselves during the job search, especially if you're a non-traditional applicant, and the importance of networking. We talk about that all the time on this show, and how to network if you are an introvert like Dr. Don is. If you're ready to make a career switch like I was back in the day, give that episode a listen. I also highly recommend reading Dr. Don's book, Switchers, which I've linked in the show notes. By using those links, you're not only supporting our guests, but you're also supporting this show. Lately, though, I've been sharing how practicing intentional and mindful living over the last 10 years has helped me navigate the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of my own midlife crisis. Being more intentional and mindful has helped me process my anxiety in a much healthier way by reducing my emotional reactivity and impulsive behavior, which in turn has helped me improve my relationships and communication with others. So, if you're ready to make a meaningful change in your life, visit www.mindfulmidlifecrisis.com and download your free Jumpstart Your Midlife workbook. This workbook offers a comprehensive, guided approach that will help you transform your midlife years with actionable steps, reflective exercises, and practical insights that will empower you to unlock your potential and build a more fulfilling life for yourself. These are the same skills, strategies, and resources I use in my own life based on years of research and experimentation to find a bit more calm and clarity amidst the chaos. So if you're ready to take the leap, go to www.mindfulmidlifecrisis.com and take action now. But here's the deal. What you will come to learn as you listen to this show is that I do not have all of the answers, because there are still days when I'm a hot mess navigating this thing called life. But by sharing my experiences as well as the experiences of others, my hope is that you'll see you are not alone in your experience. When we journey together and offer encouragement, we create a stronger, more connected community where everyone can thrive, because at the end of the day, we'll always achieve more working together than we ever could alone. Today, we're diving deep into one of life's most relatable dilemmas: whether to go all in on a dream or play it safe. I myself had been living in my very own version of Robert Frost's The Road Not Taken poem, and I was staring down two paths with very different outcomes. And I imagine all of us have been there at one point or another, stuck between a decision that could change everything, or you could just keep things steady but predictable. And we're going to unpack this today, because it's not as easy as, oh, just go all in on your dream. It's not that simple, despite what every coach or what every Instagrammer out there tries to tell you, tries to sell you. It's not that simple. So I'm going to share my own personal experience with how I navigated this decision, along with some practical steps you can apply with your own decision-making process as we embrace the fear of the unknown and figure out how to move forward confidently, even when the path isn't clear. So let me first set the stage by talking about something many of us wrestle with, and that is social perfectionism. I am just like the living embodiment of social perfectionism. And this is the need to always get it right, to always be perfect. And it is mentally, emotionally, and physically exhausting. I think I've told this story before, where I was out on a date with a woman one time and just unloading my thoughts on her. And she goes, "It must be exhausting to be you." And she's right. It is so exhausting. Oh my God, to just overanalyze and think the way that I do. It really is. It's been a lifelong battle for me. Ever since a young age, I felt this irrational fear of not measuring up. And it's led to constant anxiety and this unyielding need for everything to be flawless, especially when it came to how others see me. And there have been times when if I didn't say or do the right thing in a social interaction, I'd replay it over and over in my head. I had a situation with a guest one time where I thought that I insulted them, and I was just joking around, but I thought that I had really insulted them. And it was a high profile guest, and I just kind of joking around. Oh my God, I replayed that moment in my head for months. And you just get to the point where you obsess about whether or not you came off as appropriate or a jerk, or if you came off as awkward or unprepared. And that kind of thing just eats me up inside all the time. And the kicker is that like this perfectionism doesn't just exist in social settings. It spills over into everything. It spills over into work. It spills over into relationships. And it especially spills over into my decision making. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate. Think about how many times have you hesitated to take a risk because you weren't sure if you were going to execute it perfectly. That fear of failure, of not being good enough, is paralyzing. And here's where therapy stepped in for me. I was dealing with these constant anxiety attacks back in the day, and I would get this tightness in my stomach and this overwhelming feeling wrapping around me. My therapist helped me see that my perfectionism was really about fear, especially the fear of being inadequate. But through mindfulness and self-awareness, I've started to see things a bit differently. And that brings me to the dilemma I was facing all summer long. So I'm going to take the next few episodes to walk you through my mindset and the decision-making process so you can see how I ended up making this decision despite being at a crossroads, because I had two distinct options in front of me. Option one was to go all in on becoming a digital nomad coach. So when I got back to the States in May of 2024, I started working on a course and a workbook that helps digital nomads navigate the unspoken challenges they encounter, such as balancing work responsibilities with personal exploration, sticking to routines, working out and eating healthy when there's so much delicious food around, like cow soy. Cow soy. So good. Northern Thailand, you have the best food. It's amazing. As well as the one I experienced the most, which was feeling isolated, lonely, and disconnected from deep, meaningful relationships due to the nature of living a transient lifestyle. So I sent out all these surveys to digital nomads and collected information because I wanted to know, was I alone in all of this? And wouldn't you know, I wasn't. There were a lot of people who were struggling with very similar challenges that I felt like I was struggling with through that 3-year journey of digital nomading. And the whole project lit me up because it gave me an opportunity to connect with like-minded people through LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And it provided me the potential opportunity to do what I truly believe is my purpose in life, which is helping others navigate life's challenges through our shared experiences. And all of this opened up opportunities for me to present at international conferences in Japan, Thailand, and the Philippines. And the thought of having a captivated audience, because I do love a good captivated audience, that lit me up inside. But the catch in all of this was that none of these speaking gigs paid. In fact, I would have to pay my own way if I wanted to attend. In some cases, I would have to pay to attend the conference. I wouldn't even get that for free. It was just a perk of attending the conference, was to be one of the speakers. Now, I know there's value in investing in yourself, and I talk about this all the time in the podcast. And if there's one thing I've learned over the last 3 years during this solo entrepreneurial journey I've been on, is that self-promotion is crucial to your success. But in my case, I had already invested a lot in that area without getting much bang for my buck. And I was also traveling the world without a steady income. I was using my savings. I was using the money that I made after I sold my condo. And there was no guarantee that these conferences would provide the financial return I needed to stay afloat. Which leads me then to option 2, which was honoring my business English teaching contract that I received in Seoul. Now, I signed this contract way back in January of 2024, and I was kind of hemming and hawing about whether or not I was going to follow through with it. But this opportunity did offer me the much needed financial stability that I was seeking at that time. It was a chance to reconnect with a city I love very much. And I had a built-in supportive community through Soul Share and CIK. Not only that, but I just like the idea of being in one place without having to constantly plan for my next move. But that also meant hitting pause on some of those bigger goals that I had for myself. So I had to decide, do I take the risky road where the risk is incredibly high, but the potential payoff could be incredible? Or do I play it safe and take the more stable path? And when I talked about that in my newsletter, it garnered a lot of responses from people. Thank you very much for responding to that. And they were asking a very basic question, which I'm sure many of you are asking right now. What's stopping you from doing both? And the answer to that question is very simple. In fact, I wrote this answer on a Post-it note over a year ago when I was overwhelmed with the initial stages of content creation, marketing, and gaining clarity. And what I wrote was, I am but one man. But last summer, I found myself in a situation where I needed to be more versatile if I was going to capitalize on all the hard work I'd put into building a sustainable lifestyle as a digital nomad, while also making sure I didn't spread myself too thin mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially. So with that in mind, I made a decision that aligned with both my current needs and my long-term aspirations. So I decided to move forward with the business teaching position in Seoul. And this position provides me with the financial and geographical stability that's truly been missing in my life these past 3 years. And it gives me a solid foundation from which to further build my network and enhance my brand as a podcast host and a community builder. And if I'm being honest, I just don't feel the call to really be a coach right now. I'd much rather focus on rebranding and rebuilding this podcast. This podcast is like crack. I can't quit it. I wish I could quit you, podcast, but I can't. And I think part of that is because I'm so disheartened by what I did to it a year ago that I want to bring it back to its original purpose and move away from selling you on the idea of working with me as a coach. I'd much rather introduce you to a multitude of people with diverse backgrounds, experiences, and expertise who I not only genuinely believe have your best interests in mind, but also use practical yet innovative strategies that feel accessible, manageable, and realistic. And it's not that I don't do those things too. It's just that now I get to do what I do best, which is be a conduit who links my incredible listeners to the incredible people who share their stories and services with us. That's why you're going to hear promos from past guests who have chosen to support this show when you choose to work with them. And as far as my choice to return to teaching, it's not exactly what I wanted to do, and I wrestled with whether or not this was a step backwards. And yeah, it's nice to work with corporate adult clients, but it's still teaching English, which is something I said I didn't ever want to do again. But I've reframed how I see this choice. And rather than seeing it as a step in the wrong direction, I see it now as a strategic move to strengthen my base while continuing to grow this podcast with a clearer vision in mind. As someone who needs structure in his life, having a set teaching schedule allows me to apply my full measure commitment to education while also carving out dedicated time to focus on the podcast, content creation, and community building. Now, I have definitely had to ask myself multiple times, are you sure you're not biting off more than you can chew? But honestly, if I had a nickel for every time I doubted whether or not I could handle everything on my plate, I'd already have a beach home somewhere in Thailand and probably enough leftover money for a shanty in Lisbon as well. And we'd be having mindful midlife community retreats there all of the time on my dime. The reality is this: there's always going to be a whisper of uncertainty about whether all this will pan out as I hope. Imposter syndrome is what I do best. But if we practice interrupting imposter syndrome, like Teresa Sandy teaches us in episode 32, then we acknowledge that we're feeling like an imposter, we interrupt that thought, and then we move forward by taking action. So now I'm going to give you an opportunity to take some quick action by checking out this week's sponsors. And when we come back, I'm going to share 5 essential questions you need to ask yourself to embrace courage and confidence when navigating life's big decisions and transitions. Thank you for listening to the Mindful Midlife Crisis. This episode is sponsored by the Bell Center and its Mind Hacking Meditation course, a transformative 3-week journey into meditation and mindfulness. Perfect for beginners or seasoned meditators alike, this self-paced course requires only 5 hours a week and includes daily guided meditations, theory lessons, and one-on-one guidance from Colin Purcell and Anna Schlegel. Experience the essence of the Bell Center from anywhere in the world. I actually took this course last year while I was in Korea, and it challenged my already established mindfulness practice while also expanding on my understanding of how mindfulness and breathwork actually impacts our physiological health. For those ready for a physical retreat, the Bell Center, perched on a lush rainforest hill in Ecuador, is a sanctuary for mindfulness, yoga, surf, and more. With breathtaking ocean and mountain views and a vibrant permaculture project, the center offers fresh, organic produce to all its guests. Join Colin and Anna for silent meditation, yoga, and surf retreats starting February 1st. I actually attended a breathwork workshop with these two when we were all at the Angkor Island Surf Camp in Dakar, Senegal, and that workshop helped me reevaluate my relationship with my breath, and I know working with Colin and Anna, whether online or in person, will do the same for you. Learn more at www.thebell.center. That's www.thebell.center. Give them a follow on Instagram and be sure to check out episodes 48 through 49 of the Mindful Midlife Crisis, where I talk with Colin and Anna about how the power of breathwork can enhance our lives. The Bell Center. Stoke your inner calm one breath at a time. This episode is sponsored by Gray Tonic. Do you ever question your relationship with alcohol? Gray area drinking and gray areas in general affect millions of people who don't identify with extremes but still feel something isn't quite right. Whether it's with alcohol, your health, or even relationships, these gray areas can quietly hold you back. If this sounds familiar, don't miss episode 61 with gray area expert Carrie Schweer, where she shares her personal journey through gray area drinking and explains how her own frustration with traditional programs led her to create Decide 30, a new program from Gray Tonic that doesn't just address drinking, but tackles all those in-between spaces where we tend to get stuck. With Decide 30, you'll explore what drives your habits, refocus on what truly matters, and develop daily tools to start moving forward. One of my listeners who worked with Carrie shared that her approach opened doors in ways he didn't expect, helping him to become a better husband, father, and leader. And as someone who's personally moved through gray area drinking and has been sober for over a year now, I can tell you firsthand the difference it makes to be clear and intentional. So if this resonates with you, check out the link in the show notes to learn more about Gray Tonic's Decide 30 program. This might be the exact opportunity you've been waiting for to make lasting changes in every area of your life. This episode is sponsored by Beyond Coaching with Jeannie Love. Looking to create a more inclusive workspace for your neurodivergent colleagues? Or maybe you're seeking effective strategies for your own ADHD journey. If so, check out episode 99 of the Mindful Midlife Crisis with Jeannie Love, a neurodivergent coach and consultant with over 20 years of experience specializing in ADHD and autism. Jeannie helps organizations create workplaces where neurodivergent employees can excel. Through tailored consulting, she provides environmental audits, practical recommendations, and specialized coaching and training to support neurodivergent team members. She's also equally passionate about coaching professionals who discover their neurodivergence later in life. Using her neuroautonomy method, she helps clients develop personalized tools for building confidence, productivity, and emotional resilience. If you're ready to explore how neurodiversity coaching can enhance your workplace or personal journey, book a free 60-minute discovery call with Jeannie at www.beyondcoaching.pro. That's www.beyondcoaching.pro. And let Jeannie empower neurodivergent individuals and workplaces to thrive with confidence, clarity, and compassion. This episode is sponsored by the Simple Man Guide. Hit a career rut and have no idea what to do next? Then check out episode 63 with the Simple Man, Brian Gallagher. Brian once had what many would call the perfect career, a high-paying job, zero debt, and all the luxuries he could want. But deep down, he knew something was missing. It wasn't until he ditched the normal career path, utilized his strengths, and followed his curiosities that he discovered his life's work, helping others find their life's work. So, if you're feeling drained by your career, can't imagine another 15 to 20 years of the same meaningless work, get yourself a copy of Brian's Solo Business Blueprint and start building your path out of the rat race. This free email course is packed with step-by-step guidance to help you find your business idea, get clear on the problem you solve, find those ideal clients needing your help, and stop overthinking and start building your own career path, all without leaving your job, all without wasting lots of time, all without posting on social media. If you're ready to get started, visit www.simplemanguide.com today to break free, create your own path, and live life on your terms. Thank you for listening to the Mindful Midlife Crisis. My mission is to help you navigate the complexities and possibilities of life's second half by introducing you to people and resources that will help you jumpstart your life. When you support our sponsors, not only are you supporting this show, but you're also supporting your own personal growth and development. Keep seeking out ways to invest in you and your future. And now, back to the show. Welcome back to the Mindful Midlife Crisis. Today, we're talking about what to consider if you're in the midst of a major life decision like I was last summer. So now it's time for my new segment, 5 Essential Questions. This segment is designed to help you reflect, learn, and grow as you navigate life's complex decisions. Each episode, I'll present 5 thought-provoking questions aimed at fostering self-awareness and personal growth. These questions encourage you to dig deep, challenge your perspectives, and unlock your full potential. If you want a digital copy of each week's 5 essential questions emailed to you, just go to www.mindfulmidlifecrisis.com and join my newsletter. You'll also get my new Jumpstart Your Midlife workbook, which is a great companion piece to this segment. Whether you're facing a major life transition or simply looking to gain clarity, these 2 resources will provide practical tools to help you move forward with confidence and purpose. So, before you make your own major life decision, here are 5 essential questions that might help guide you through that process. Question 1, what goals or curiosities truly light you up, and how do they align with your long-term vision for your life? For me, I realized coaching was not moving me towards fulfilling my purposes in life, but for some reason, like I mentioned, I just cannot let go of this podcast. All the promotion of this show, all the behind the scenes stuff. Oh my God, it's so much work and it burns me out to the point where I feel like I need to take a break, which is why there's so many interruptions to this show, which I'm trying to alleviate by working with sponsors. But the thing I always come back to is wanting to share the expertise and experiences of the people I meet on a regular basis. Every single day in my business English course, participants share fascinating details about their lives with me, and I just find myself in awe of the unique outlook each of them have towards their lives. I also have the great fortune of meeting incredible people in the soul share and climbing and Korea communities, and those conversations often put me in position to showcase my talents as an event host, organizing a group gathering like the one I organized for the silent disco in Yeouido, Honggang Park. Yes, I am going to talk about the silent disco in a later episode because It was so much fun. You can check out my Instagram, mindful_midlife_crisis, if you want to see video from the silent disco. It was a blast. So was being an MC and DJ at the Soul Share Halloween party. Recently, I was asked to MC the Johnny Birds concert. Hey, check out Johnny Birds on Spotify. Give them a follow on Instagram as well. Maybe I'll link all that information in the show notes too, because that is some good music right there. But they were playing some songs and they had some opening acts and they wanted an MC. And so who did they call? Of course, yours truly, the host with the most from coast to coast. So as long as I get a chance to perform in this capacity, I'll always have something joyful to look forward to. And that's what this podcast gives me. So for you, please take some time to reflect on your motivations and aspirations. Are your current options moving you closer to fulfilling your purpose, or are you playing it safe just to maintain comfort? Which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. If you're comfortable, I think that's okay. But are you complacent? That's an important distinction. Our next essential question is, how do you typically handle fear when faced with big decisions? And what steps can you take to embrace courage over perfection? I am generally not afraid to dive right into something without considering whether or not it's perfect to some degree, which it does get me into trouble from time to time because it means I don't consider the finer details. And it means I end up having to clean up whatever mess I've made because I've overlooked a few minor details. I'm a big picture kind of person, but oh God, please do not give me a 500-piece puzzle to put together, because if I'm overwhelmed by the process, I'll never start because I'll want to get it perfect. But if I get bogged down with those minor details, I have a tendency not to start because that perfection sets in and I get bored and I move on to something else. So in order to combat this, I have to constantly remind myself that progress is more important than perfection. I try to see the big picture as smaller, manageable steps and focus on taking the next right action rather than obsessing over the entire journey. That is very, very difficult for me. It's very difficult to me. And that's what I mean by I am but one man. Everything is going to take a lot longer on my own than if I have a team. And even if I have a team, I always feel like I'm micromanaging their tasks because explaining all the details in my head feels like carefully plotting a dot on some pointillist style painting. But I find that action begets action. So moving forward, even when I feel unsure, builds courage and confidence and self-worth. So I become better at learning on the go and feeling more content with putting out the minimal viable product if it's just something I'm experimenting with. So if that's you, consider how fear impacts your decision-making process. What small, courageous steps can you take to move forward despite feeling uncertain? Our third essential question asks, when have you waited for confidence before taking action, and how might leading with courage change your approach? Fear plays a big role in my own decision making. Fear of failure, fear of missing out, fear of the unknown. All these fears often keep me stuck in analysis paralysis. This is part of my anxiety. But here's the thing. What I've had to navigate and what I've had to come to realize is that fear is a natural part of the process. And sometimes waiting until everything feels safe or feels perfect can mean missing out on life-changing experiences. This reminds me of something my former therapist once asked me. Do you put courage before confidence or confidence before courage? And for a long time, I believed confidence had to come first, that I needed to feel sure of myself before taking action. But waiting for confidence often meant not acting at all. What I've come to realize then is that courage is what you need to lead with. Courage is the willingness to the step forward despite uncertainty. It's the courage to look like a fool. It's the courage to sound like a fool. It's the courage to make mistakes. It's the courage to take that first leap even when you don't feel ready. On the other hand, it's also important to recognize that confidence plays a crucial role in sustaining courage. When you know and trust yourself, you build the confidence that enables more courageous decisions. Check out episode 88 with Venus Lau. She talks about that as well. Basically, confidence is nurtured by our past experiences. When we face challenges head on, even when the outcome is unclear. And with each step, our confidence reinforces our courage, creating a cycle of growth. Our fourth essential question asks, what risks are you willing to take, and how do you balance your need for stability with your desire for growth? Now, leading with courage over confidence doesn't mean running out of the foxhole Rambo style and blasting your way to success. In fact, I personally think the idea of going all in is completely reckless. It's why you were taught as a kid, don't put all of your eggs into one basket. That's actually really good advice. Otherwise, how are you any different from that gambling addict pushing every chip across the table and letting it all ride? There's even research that shows how risking everything on a single shot activates the brain's reward centers in a way that's highly addictive. So as thrilling as going all in feels, it often overlooks the value of maintaining a safety net. I was listening to Scott Galloway. I love me some Scott Galloway. He was on the Jordan Harbinger show, and you all know I love the Jordan Harbinger show. This was a couple episodes back, and Jordan made a really great point during that conversation. He said, when we burn all the boats, we abandon any potential fallbacks or alternate plans as if the only path forward is a single irreversible course. But life's most significant decisions often require a blend of risk and caution. So rather than torching every boat, we should consider which ones might be worth keeping around, because those boats can sail us back to safety if our plans go awry. Keeping some safe options open doesn't mean we lack commitment. It means we're honoring our future selves by preparing for the unexpected. So instead of blindly discarding all backup plans, we can ask ourselves which resources or strategies might help us course correct or adjust as we grow. Think about your tolerance for risk. Are you ready to take a leap for something you believe in? Or does the security of a stable path offer more value right now? And that leads us to our last essential question, which is, what does your gut instinct tell you about each path, and how can you integrate logic and intuition to make the best decision? When I consider the different paths I've encountered, my gut instinct often provides an initial sense of alignment, or sometimes a lack thereof. It's like an inner nudge that hints at what feels right based on my values and past experiences. My initial intuition was to bail on this job offer in Korea and explore other alternatives, but I had to consider the entirety of my situation at that time, and intuition alone isn't always enough to make a big life decision. In fact, I would strongly encourage you to consider integrating logic to help you make grounded, sustainable decisions. I balance my gut decisions with practical considerations like resources, time, and long-term goals. By weaving together intuition and logic, I can pursue paths that feel meaningful and achievable, ensuring each step aligns with who I am and who I want to become. Trust your intuition while weighing the practical aspects of each option. Ask yourself, how can you blend both your gut feeling and rational thinking to make an informed choice? At the end of the day, making a major life decision is deeply personal. Understanding where you are in life, what your values are, and what risks you're willing to take are crucial when considering what steps to take. As you navigate your own crossroads, remember this: every decision, whether bold or safe, is a step forward. Learn from it, embrace it, and trust that you're exactly where you need to be. If you enjoyed this week's episode, don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss a future episode. If you're an Apple listener, you can do that by clicking the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner. And if you're a Spotify listener, click the follow button and then click those 5 stars under the cover art to show the show some love. I would also greatly appreciate it if you would share this episode with the people in your life who are weighing the pros and cons of a big life decision. And if you do that on Instagram or LinkedIn, don't forget to tag me, bro, because sharing is caring. If you're feeling really generous, please consider making a donation to the show. All you got to do is click on the donate button in the show notes, just like Lilith did, who shared with me that she enjoys listening, learning, and reflecting. Lilith is a longtime listener. She used to come to my meditate and mingle sessions, a loyal supporter of the show. Thank you so much, Lilith. Your contributions help me keep this show running smoothly and without interruption. In fact, if every subscriber donated $10, I'd be able to afford the upkeep required to maintain this podcast. So if you find value in the interviews and personal stories shared on this program, please consider showing your support, and you too can get a shout out like Lilith did in this episode. If you want more free resources to help you reflect, learn, and grow, consider subscribing to my weekly newsletter at www.mindfulmidlifecrisis.com. Or if you want to keep up with my travel adventures as well as life in Korea, you can follow me on Instagram at mindful_midlife_crisis. This is where I share my travel tips, experiences, and recommendations so you won't feel so overwhelmed when planning your next big trip. If you're interested in collaborating on a future project together, hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm always looking to connect with amazing people with amazing life experiences and stories to share there. Don't forget to check out this week's sponsors. I'm not here to solve all the world's problems. I've got enough of my own to solve all the world's problems. But I am constantly building my network so I can provide more resources for you to live your best life. When you support those sponsors, you also support the show. So don't be afraid to reach out to any of them. Or if you'd like me to make an introduction for you, shoot me an email at billy@mindfulmidlifecrisis.com. Finally, let me leave you with this. When you're in the midst of a midlife crisis, remember that progress is never linear. Our growth looks more like the stock market. Some days we're up, some days we're down, and we may not reap the benefits for a while. But if we play the long game and continue to invest in being consistent, disciplined, patient, compassionate, and connected to others, you'll see that investment in yourself will pay huge dividends as you navigate the complexities and possibilities of life's second half. So with that, this is Billy. Thank you for listening to the Mindful Midlife Crisis. May you feel happy, healthy, and loved. Take care, friends. Thank you for listening to the Mindful Midlife Crisis. If you're thinking about starting your own podcast but don't know where to begin, let me introduce you to Buzzsprout, the easiest way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. I've been using Buzzsprout for the Mindful Midlife Crisis since the very beginning, and let me tell you, it's a total game changer. With Buzzsprout, you'll get your podcast listed on all the major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, and more, all with just a few simple clicks. Plus, their stats dashboard gives you everything you need to see how your show is performing, including detailed insights into your audience and download numbers. I am absolutely addicted to this feature because I love seeing all the places around the world where the show is being downloaded, from major metropolitan cities like Chicago, Illinois, Frankfurt, Germany, and Sydney, Australia, to little rinky-dink towns like Louisburg, Nova Scotia, and my hometown of Sauk Center, Minnesota. The best part? Buzzsprout is super easy to use. Whether you're a podcasting pro or just starting out, Buzzsprout will guide you through the entire process with no tech background required. You can even add magic mastering to make your audio sound its best without all the complicated editing. Go to the show notes and use my promo link to get a $20 credit to your account that you can immediately use to get your podcast up and running. So what are you waiting for? Hit that link in the show notes to start your podcast today. Ever wonder how I get such crystal clear audio and video quality during my guest interviews? It's all thanks to Riverside FM. Riverside FM is my go-to platform for recording studio-grade quality audio and video interviews, no matter where you or your guests are. I've been using Riverside for the Mindful Midlife Crisis for almost the entirety of the show, and it's made a world of difference in the clarity of my audio and video. Plus, it's super easy to use. Riverside records each participant locally in 4K video and uncompressed audio, so even if you or your guest's internet connection lags, your recordings come out crystal clear. You don't have to worry about glitches or delays ruining the conversation. It's like recording in a professional studio without ever leaving your home, which is perfect for a guy like me who records in locations all over the world. Riverside FM also makes editing a breeze with separate audio and video tracks for each person, and you can even use their magic editor to polish your episodes before publishing. Not only that, but it creates epic sound bites and video clips that you can turn into Instagram and TikTok reels in no time without having to search for them, which is great for me because I hate doing that social media crap to promote this show. If you're serious about producing top-notch content, whether it's for a podcast or video interviews, Riverside FM is the way to go. If you're ready to take your podcast quality to the next level, click the link in the show notes and give Riverside a try today. Trust me, your listeners will notice the difference. Hey there, I wish we could do this show ad-free, but these products and services really do enhance the quality of this podcast, and I'm a big believer in promoting people who do good work. Not only that, but when you support these products and services, you're also supporting the show. If you're looking for other ways to support this podcast, don't forget to click on those show notes. Thank you for listening to the Mindful Midlife Crisis.